All right, here we are. All right. Getting after it here today. Who's ready to get eaten up by mosquitoes and bugs? I am. Thanks a lot, everybody, for stopping by. We are live on Instapound right now, and on 360, of course. And the midnight owl came alive. Today is Sunday, July 18th, if you can believe it. We made it. We're here for another round. I guess yesterday and today, the homosexuals have another festival. It's the 49th annual, just things that you can't mention. Things that you can't mention. And I saw Patty here in Minneapolis. Texas was in the house yesterday, and she was at a hotel downtown Minneapolis. And she was like, why are there so many homosexuals around here? Guys in drag, people celebrating the rainbow. It's always good to celebrate the rainbow. And then I remember Miles had shared that they were having a thing. For some reason I thought it was like next weekend, but there's your answer. So they were celebrating. I guess you got to celebrate that. I don't see a lot of straight people celebrating. Woo, procreation. So we're just getting our feet wet here, just setting up shop. I'm sure it's going to be an eventful evening. It's early. It's about 4:30 right now in Minneapolis. So I figured, what better thing to do than on a Sunday and come out and talk to all these religious people, find out why they believe they live in a floating gobstopper. But if you can take anything from these comments that you see on social medias, the majority of people are really just vile towards the idea. These people are willing to defend their beliefs, probably to the death, if that's what it takes. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to die for flat Earth? Guess we'll find out someday. I might not be here. Maybe your children will be here. Will they be willing to die for it? Do you see your neighbor's children willing to die for wearing a mask? These people will sacrifice themselves for the greater good because you're a problem, because you didn't take the jab. Seems like they're willing, ready and able subjects to be soul dyers. Are you? That's the question. Might be something you have to ask yourself someday. Maybe address it now. Think about it. But It's a beautiful day out. You have things to do. Maybe you got to do that yard work that you've been putting off, so flat earth and things of that nature aren't really ready. Kind of in the back burner. If you already know the earth is flat, like doing activism about it or talking to other people about it, just, maybe it's just not. You got to till your garden. You got to make preservation, you got to make, what would it be, like provisions for yourself. So just wait until you have that garden all set up. Then you'll rise up or something. Do something about your oppressors. You're going to raise your children right, though. But you'll be raising them up in a worse situation than we have now. Like, what are you leaving behind? But you got yours, right? You got your acre and a half, acre. Some of these people don't even literally have a yard. Literally don't have a yard, but they're okay. They got theirs. They were born first. Good for them. So anybody born after them, well, I had to walk uphill back and forth to school and to my job. So, these Zoomers, they'll just have to deal. Maybe just because these Zoomers are vaccine damaged, doesn't mean you can't get them on your side. Flat Earth side, whatever side. These children can learn Flat Earth or other topics. And they can fight for you. Blindly and willingly do it. Obviously, you saw that in some of the previous videos I put out. Some of these Zoomers they're ready because they love combat. They love the idea of combat. The competitive nature of that is exciting to them. The opportunity to take and give life at the flick of a finger. What's great is the absolute power that comes when you spare a life. When you're walking down the street or whatever and you see some ants or an ant or a bug or something and you just step on it because you can. Sooner or later those insects are going to come back at you. Karma's going to catch up to you. Which is kind of why in the Tomorrow War, right, with Chris Pratt, spoiler alert, looks like those aliens are like insects. They have multiple legs. I only watched half of it last night. I fell asleep. But I watched some of it. And I've always thought that if they are non-human aliens, they'd probably be insects. So we got "But Did You Die" sign. Figured we put that up. Then I got a couple other new signs. It's a pretty calm day out. Still a little foggy in the distance there. Those look fun. Those three-wheeled cars. here with space travel as a hoax. Garbage lie. I can't wait for this. This comes to a big crescendo. This whole space and flat earth thing. Just can't wait. I might not be here, but I know my part. I know my role here now. I can't wait till space is just... They try to push it so hard. Push the idea so much. You know, they, spoiler alert on the Tomorrow War, they wake up in this new world of the future on Earth. I think 30 years into the future, 20 years into the future. And when Chris Pratt first kind of manifests himself into the world, they fall from the sky, which I thought was kind of interesting. And they don't really have the coordinates set, I guess, very well. Doesn't seem like, or maybe that time they got corrupted intel and they were unable to get the AO at a proper location because they're falling from the sky into rooftops of skyscrapers. And of course, fortunately, Chris Pratt just so happens to fall into the deepest below ground pool on the rooftop of a skyscraper. And so not only him, but literally hundreds of people are falling from the sky. And they do a draft, and they find that 30% of the people that go on their first tour of this future Earth being invaded by these octopus insects is survival rate is 30%. So, multiple people pass away just even attempting to, I guess, land. And here's the table. Here's what we got on the other side here. Got the beach, which was shut down actually a couple of weeks ago because of E. coli pollution. So however that happens, So thanks a lot, everybody. And then here's here's where we're hanging out. What do you think about flat Earth? Yeah, what do you think about it? Space travel is a hoax. But did you die? Think about it. What did you think you were just so worried and anxious about that then you finally do it and you're like, hey, that was really cool. And it's like, well, what were you so worried about then? Sometimes it's just about doing it for the first time. And for others, it's about doing it again for the first time. So, thanks a lot. The last sign said, consume less dairy. I think, a lot of these people, in my opinion, who are getting sick are, have too much dairy in their body, maybe. My vice is butter. I've gotten away from yogurt and cheese, roughly. Here or there, I'll get cheese. But I don't drink milk. It's kind of a big no-no, I guess. I try to really stay away from half and half. He was this close to wiping out. I don't know if you all saw that in the background. Yeah, you did. On Instagram, you saw that. It's okay. It's okay, puppy doggy. So yesterday we were on the other side of the lake here at Bidemakoska. And today we are at Doubting Thomas Beach, trying to regulate the misinformation about flat Earth and things of that nature. So we'll see how... There's a popular meme or popular video series of people wiping out with Ford Mustangs because they're just not used to that raw horsepower of a Ford Mustang. That's what's making all the racket around here. The rascals. They'll come back around. I'll see if I can... Alex. Yeah, talk about, climate change is like unbelievable right now. I guess Merkel came out and said we need to do something about climate change because of the flooding that they've had over the weekend, I guess. I have a news article for that, so... Or you can look it up yourself. Up to you. Yeah, climate change is a big thing. I wouldn't be surprised when they start like telling us to live underground, or these domes that they'll start building. These super... if you build it, they'll come, right? That's the idea. If they just built these giant global warming, live here if you want to be... and you can only live in these domes if you're vaccinated, of course. You have to be fully vaccinated to live in these new... The air is poison society that we're coming into. Why not, huh? Figure why not. Don't worry, I got you too. Sneaky guy. Yeah, did you? When you went to go do what you did you die? Oh yeah. How have you become a new person since then? You don't know. Nice work. You develop like a sense of keeping your head on a swivel. Sometimes you're a little later than others, but I just look to my right and he's putting his camera down. That'll be $50. Thank you for the ride. He just takes people around the block for some new Nikes, some new Jordans. What do you got to barter? Why not, huh? Whatever you got to do to make a buck. If you're not, trying to, secure yourself with some kind of future, that's why flat earth is so important. If you're a guy and a girl and you're just starting up a family, why would you not want, our creator to come down and use his big giant fingers and pick you up and put you on another continent somewhere where nobody knows where you are? If you had an airship that could go for 50 years in any direction you wanted to, and maybe like start, turning left here or this other degree there, and you found another continent that was 75 and sunny all the time, and nobody knew where you were going to be ever, but no, people want mediocrity. They want to just stay here. They want to be in this melting pot where we're being taught to hate each other. Where so many people feel like their backs are like ducks' backs, where water is just going to continually beat off their backs. Like, it's no big deal. Not a big deal. Yeah, sure, you can do that. I don't mind. You're right. Your truth is relative. How long do you think that's going to go? These people in the movie, The Tomorrow War, they wake up in this experience. And who's to say that it can't be implanted into your mind that you're going through this and it's a test to begin with? There's not really a war going on. It's just a test to see how many people would actually fight for humankind. Because we need an alien. I mean, like Ronald Reagan said in the 1980, and the UN, that maybe we need an alien force. And maybe that's going to be the only way to draw everybody together. The alien force now is COVID, and that seems to be drawing people together. That's separating and dividing. But in all reality, an actual alien invasion is the only way that could really stave off any differences that we have. It would be the reset. We wouldn't need to be flooded or nuked or firebombed or burn everything. They could have just been going to a duplicate world that is called Earth, and it looks exactly the same. It's set up the exact same. It's like a movie set. And then they just get dropped into that environment. And then they're told a narrative about these aliens. I mean, you could carry on to these psychological operations that they use in movies for hours. And we might, because there's nobody here. The Purge Forever displays a little bit of that also at the very end of it. How many people are going to join up and help, stave off the bad guys? And the only way to do that would be by killing people, by removing them permanently. Regular civilians, just regular people getting drafted by this world draft, regardless of your abilities, really. You get drafted into this war, the Tomorrow War. You could just fall asleep. They could put you in stasis, and then you wake up all of a sudden in this new alleged world on another planet. You would know no difference. They're already experimenting with these domes. They're already putting these into works. These artificial greenhouses, basically. Controlled environment. They can't control this environment very well. This is open air. There's really little that the law can do in that regard. When you're doing activism or talking about the pros and cons of vaccines. But you could get that all regulated in a building, a skyscraper, something that's underground and built that you have to live in because the air is poison because of global warming. And really, they could probably just manifest something in regards to fires, drop something and blame it on a terrorist, and literally pollute the sky and the air that we breathe. I'm not sure of their ability or their world legalities in regards to that, where they just literally poison the air to such a high degree. And they're already doing it with chemtrails and those airplanes that fly above us. They're even putting them in movies now. Watch a movie nowadays. Even a commercial. They have chemtrails in the commercials. Cartoons have chemtrails. So, good luck saying, hey, granddaughter, grandson, the reason why our sky is poisoned and everything is because I didn't do anything when I could have. I would rather go to the Twins game and watch them get swept by the Detroit Tigers. We don't do anything until the very, very last minute. I should know. Take it from me. Until you're literally on your deathbed is when you start waking up. So maybe it's just not their time right now. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining, at least nowadays. Can keep your sanity to talk about it openly with people that don't agree with you. How many normies are on Rockfin right now? How many normies are on Telegram? I don't think enough know that there is censorship and there's a problem with the entities that they trust, like social media, being the ones to dictate what is relevant information. They don't know. Enough don't care because they don't say anything themselves. They don't disagree with anything. Why would a normie go on one of these alternate platforms like BitChute? What would they be there to look up? To make fun? Which is, again, I think there's a lot of importance to talking to the community and being that, person who takes calls, takes some phone calls from other truthers and this or that. But if anything, talk to some normies out in public as a group, because the more there are, the better, you can help offer the importance by more people. But for some, doing it with 1, 2, or 3 people is effective also. A basketball team has 13, 14 players. You know, one alpha dog, and then the rest all play their role, and they know their role. It's the smallest locker room in professional sports. To get a core 10 to 15 people that you can count on to do things effectively. That's like building a team. That's what people want to do, is they want to build a team with Flat Earth. They want to have that consistency of people that, you know, you can go out and do things with. But everybody has their characteristics. Some are better at certain things than others. Find your role, and then start your own team. You know, if you're a truther and you kind of see yourself as being more of a watcher or a follower than a doer, then, you know, try to get some people on your team and go out and do things quietly, maybe not video it. It's not like you got to video everything. But I think it's a good learning experience for everybody on social media. People are random. Every day is different. People grow, or they lose the ability to stay focused. And they get distracted, and then they forget. But we all held accountable individually. Each one of us singly has nobody else to account to other than themselves and our Creator. That's it. That's all we have. Everybody's just passing by, whether you're friends or you've been married your whole life with your high school sweetheart, which is great. I'm going to try to get out to some sporting events here. I think there's soccer too. I did one soccer game here a couple of years ago, but I forgot my selfie stick or the ability to hold the camera without other than my hands, and I just did audio recording and I didn't really get around to uploading it. But I know that there's a lot of people out there that are consistent with doing activism, or, you know, there's a lot of negativity about your effectiveness, you know, being by yourself or with a couple other people. Like, how are you effective? How many people have you converted? Won over? Nothing really matters to people until it directly affects them. So maybe activism is just sparking that first step that not everybody agrees with what's going on, and that's okay. But some people seem to be so prideful that they don't want to look into things. They don't even want to take your information. They agree with you in other aspects, maybe spirituality, or you guys like the same football team. But when it comes to flat Earth, there's no way outer space is a hoax. There's no way. Which is why I think it's the most important topic for a human being to learn, is flat Earth. It's the combination. It allows the opportunity to break the spell. You still gotta dig. I mean, you can't just, like a Christian, just fall on Jesus and wait for the rapture. You still gotta be a doer. can't just be merely a hearer. You have to be a doer. And then you will have a great reward after this whole charade, whatever this is. You got to share it. I mean, that's the important thing too. Not just bury it in your backyard and wait for it to gain interest on your own so then you can cash out. Stuff like this is meant to be shared. That's why it's hidden. That's why they hide these things from us. That's why it's so important. That's why you're told one thing, but your intuition tells you another, but you just go along with the first thing because you just want to just get along with everyone. You want to have friends. You just want to live just a reasonable, peaceful life and not cause a problem. The reason why it's important is because it directly goes against the foundation of everything that we're taught here. Evolution, where we come from, how we got here as human beings. We have reason and rationale and love and all these sorts of different things we have and are capable of that animals are not. And yet where we come from is not important. But it's so important that they would tell you the opposite of the truth here. That's how important it is. Because only the true seekers of wisdom and truth, I don't even think it's really about knowing everything. Because the more you learn, like we had discussed yesterday, is the more you find out that you don't know. But there are fundamental truths as a human being that we all should be allowed to know. But I think so many people want to just say, your truth is relative, or that, hey, good for you. No, everybody's truth is relative, regardless of the logic to it. At least in the Olympics, you would think that there would be reason and logic. But there's not. There's just, hey, you want to do that? Good for you. We'll make a spot for you as soon as possible. Look at how long it took skateboarders to have an event in this year's Olympics. This is the first time skateboarding will be an Olympic sport that you can get a gold medal for and everything. So no longer in the X Games or these alternative ESPN2 competitions. No, it's going to be an official event in the Olympics. And it took how long? But if you just want to say you're a guy and you want to put on lipstick, We'll give you an RSVP right away. We'll give you a table. We'll even give you all the events that you can be a part of. Every single event you can do. But that's the great part about America is you can choose. So you can choose what you want to do with your time. I think one thing that's important to do with your time is to get better familiar with your food and where it comes from and what you should put into your body and what you'll compromise with. Because, whatever's coming around the bend, if you just so much as have the sniffles out in public, they're going to point and screech at you like invasion of the body snatchers. Because I guess we're supposed to live in this like pristine, like, you know, that environment that they make computer chips in. I guess that's what the environment we're supposed to live in. Which is why this place is not a simulation. We sweat. My fingers grow fingernails. I just clipped them yesterday. And you can try to gaslight me however you want, but I do have to cut my hair eventually and shave. So, show me the simulation that has enough processing and data information to grow my hair and fingernails and toenails. Because in GTA 6, Red Dead Redemption 3, or No Man's Sky, or any of these other open world games that become better and better every 10 years, I don't have to go to the bathroom in any of these games. Last time I played Red Dead Redemption 2, it wasn't like, hey, you need to clip your toenails. You can't put your shoes or your boots on right now because your toenails are too long. Well, somehow my toenails just get clipped and they just stay the length that they need to be all the time. Your hair does grow because you can just allow it to grow to a certain length or add like this hair growth tonic because it's $18.99. So you can make your hair like super shaggy if you want, but it will eventually stop growing. You know, when you play these open world games, they only activate when you're within the perception radius diameter of the environment. So, you know, when you're walking around or whatever in these open world games, it's not like you can follow these people home and they're going to go to sleep in their bed. You know, the world wants you to interact with it eventually. If you befriend any of these people here that you think are just part of this simulation, you could interact with them and go to their house, and then they could be like, okay, Josh, you need to go home. I need to go to bed. Well, what do you mean? I thought you didn't sleep. This was a simulation. How is it that each individual person is running their own simulation? Where does the continual energy come from? Where does the ether get its energy to manifest my heart rate and my breathing and everything else that goes along with me to stay alive? And I don't even think about it. And then someday it'll just stop. And then where do I go? And does this all continue? You know, all my previous family members or friends that have passed away before me, you know, is their perception that this world is stopped and it's just all about them? Or do they know that this place continues to go on perpetually forever and ever? Where is the perpetual energy going to come from to keep all these people alive in their computers? Until an AI robot shows up so they can download their consciousness into that AI robot. Where is the perpetual energy coming from for these technocrats to continually mine cryptocurrency? Seems that global warming or climate change, you know, that's just like an exemption. It's kind of like these people who just get exemptions for saying or doing things because of history and what they told us about history. Oh, so you're saying that mining cryptocurrency or keeping these perpetual motion machines going to give electricity for these people who want to live eternally because they downloaded their consciousness? Where is that energy coming from? Who's paying for that? So no, this is not a simulation. How does this place perpetually and continually run on its own? Where does that energy come from? Who wrote the script to say this or that is wrong? When you take something that's not yours, you have that pit in your stomach. Who's the writer of that code? Because whatever writer of that code that gave us that conscience in us to wake up every day after we sleep, because you have to sleep. Robots don't have to sleep. There's a benefit for that. Robots don't have to sleep. But they're written by people who are prone to be evil. If you're a coder or whatever, and you write a code into a game just to kind of screw around with people when they play the game, why would somebody not want to do that with another simulation that they want to run? That's why it's so fascinating to me why people think our natural creator is evil, when if any of these people were to write a new computer program for a new game, they would have certain biases. They would write into the code to have certain biases. We would just not be able to write a new computer code without affecting it in a negative way, because that's our essence. It's like the double slit experiment, right? Where nothing exists unless a human being is looking at it. The only way and the only reason this place is here is because we continually manifest it. There will never be a time where this place will be absent of human beings. We're meant to be here. We can't go anywhere else. We can go a few miles high and a few miles lower. Thus is our bipolar nature, our feelings. But other than that, there's no reason for us to go anywhere, and we couldn't live anywhere else because no other environment can produce what we need here. We didn't come from anywhere else, so that's why we can't go anywhere. But they know that this is a perpetual creation machine. And that's why they use television and movies and propaganda and news and education to guide, like a school of fish or that flock of birds, the public and the masses. So I'm excited to see what happens with Flat Earth. Excited. Alright, so I had to bring out a new box of chalk. Let's do that. Once it gets to those little bits in the box of chalk, it kind of gets a little more difficult to write with, because your knuckles scrape up against the surface. We got some new colors.
powerlifting.
Hi.
I like what you're writing.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Let's see, your message here is consume less, be more mindful.
Yeah.
Think about your impact on your environment and the way that you use materials,
Okay.
products, services.
Is that what you think? You agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I without a question, the need,
Sure.
if you will,
Yeah.
to reduce
Mhm.
is vital and critical to
Okay.
the overall success of the mission. It's like we can no longer sustain the rate of consumption of natural resources,
Okay.
particularly with regards to forests,
Okay.
because the forests are the planet's lungs, essentially.
Okay. So your feeling is that the trees help produce the oxygen that we breathe?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
What if it's the algae and the plankton in the oceans that does it the most? Is that possible?
Well, if they do it more, then that's cool too. You know.
Yeah.
It's not an either or kind of a thing. It's a combination of
combo
things.
platter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know, polluting our oceans probably doesn't help
That's
the
despicable.
algae and
That's
plankton to give us.
despicable. That's just despicable. That's should just absolutely be like, you know, the pollution police should be out there.
Sure. Right. I know
But
it.
you know, trying to catch them when they're doing it at night.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that's the problem.
Sure.
Is that
I know it.
nighttime covers a multitude of sins.
Yeah, it does. Right?
So.
Have you ever been overseas or anything like that?
Well, I have been to Europe,
Okay.
particularly Italy, Rome, Berlin, Germany, Barcelona, Spain, Nice, France, Cannes,
Okay.
Monaco.
How do they deal with do they do the kind of the same thing in Europe too? They just, I mean, they're consumers too, right? Everybody orders from Amazon or a type of Amazon.
They do.
So what do we do? Like, what's your plan? Like, what do you think is effective to share?
Well, you know, in trying to, let's say, keep a personal ethos about how I use is probably what I feel is sort of the best way that I can contribute to the overall effort. You know, it's like so. But certainly, you know, I join things like the Sierra Club.
Okay.
And you know, Greenpeace.
Okay.
You know, so that I contribute, make donations.
Sure.
You know, the next level up is volunteering.
Going to do it.
Going to actually
Yeah.
get in there. And I haven't come to that level yet.
Okay.
You know, it's not the same.
Time is passing. It's fleeting.
That's a Rocky Horror Picture Show quotation, my good man.
Well, it's when the time's right?
Well,
the sun
you know,
and the moon shine when it's
well,
appropriate.
you know, I mean, it's, you know, I guess when it, you know, it feels like it's that moment for you, you know, and whenever that moment is,
Yeah.
can never be determined, you know, it's only you who, you know, makes that determination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, speaking of choice, what do you think about the Foo Fighters having concerts with only vaccinated people?
well, okay. You know, I think I might have to say that's okay.
Okay.
I think I might have to agree that that's all right, that they perform only for those who have chosen to be vaccinated. Those who are choosing not to be vaccinated, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you
Yes, you've demanded that it be a choice. You've been given that choice, but now there are some consequences. One of them might happen to be that the Foo Fighters don't want you at their concert.
Yeah, it's their concert.
Sorry.
It's my ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would they do you think that would be possible to go at Woodstock? Think you would do that for a Jimmy Page concert?
It's like a venue, right? You know, which, you know, if you're, you know, in which you're bringing in multiple groups, correct?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of a
So
smorgasbord.
there's, we'll say not to the same degree of control, but the promoters or the producers could make that stipulation, you know, for buying tickets. But, you know, that becomes kind of a very sort of kind of moving kind of line of,
Slippery slope, maybe?
well, you know,
Because can't
I'm thinking not so much slope as more like just sort of this kind of sort of area of space that kind of shifts, right? There's the, you know, the ends, or if you will, ends, whatever, and then there's all these, you know, degrees in between, right? So, well, I suppose in the end, so if the promoters say it's okay if people who are not vaccinated come, okay. All right, you know, I'm vaccinated, so I don't care. You know, if you know, so you know, but if somebody comes to the concert and they got COVID and then they give it to somebody else.
What if they're vaccinated? It shouldn't matter. Then,
Well,
right?
you
Unless
know,
you doubt your vaccine, right?
well,
unless you're like, this probably doesn't have my.
Well, you know, I mean, what is the, you know, okay, so the percentage, right? The percentage of vaccinated people who contact COVID, I think is very low, very, very low. It's like,
Really?
yeah. It's we'll say sort of almost minuscule by comparison, right? In terms of what vaccine offers as protection.
Okay.
So,
So, like, do you agree with like booster shots, or this becoming one of those things where you got to
Well-
get it annually?
well, I mean, if policy or if the CDC,
Who's the CDC again?
CDC, it is Disease Center,
Centers for Disease
Center
Control.
for Disease Control. Yeah. So if
Are they a private organization, or are they private, run by the
no, I
government, or?
think they're government. It's a government agency.
So do you think they have like other agendas or alternatives, or?
No, I think they are all trying to do their best, their professional best. Okay, they have professional ethics.
That's a different perspective than for me if I was to have those viewpoints, though. You know what I mean?
Why?
I guess for me, it would be challenging because I might lose my job, or I would feel like I'm compromising my morals, I guess. So maybe they have like a certain perception about the public than I have about the public. And that's why, it's so easily overlooked.
That what the agency is saying about, like,
Yeah, they kind of adopted themselves as the overarching, we say what's true and everything goes through us type of thing.
but actually they weren't so much adopted as they were mandated. The agency is mandated. It's like, nobody's adopting anything.
Well, businesses adopt what they say, though, right? Fair enough.
Let's just. I think maybe it's just that word adopt. Maybe it's more like that business examines or looks at the data, right?
Sure.
And then comes to a decision in regards to the data, and then says, okay, we think on account of that this is good for us to do this. It's good for us, to require that those who work for us be vaccinated.
Sure.
Now, if you're like, if you're in the company, but you're feeling like your personal rights are getting violated. Well, the question of individual rights versus the collective.
Oh, so we're all like, now we're together? I thought we were supposed to be individuals and have our own, because we're humans, right?
Well, we are individuals and can have our own predilections.
Sure.
But in the larger context, we are a community group and we are a collective. And in that regard, then, decisions are made that go to the interest of the collective over the individual.
Okay. And what if there's a lot of individuals that, feel that it's like self-preservation right now to stay clean?
Clean meaning no vaccination?
Yeah.
Well, okay. All right.
They want to preserve their...
All right.
Their bloodline,
all right,
if you will.
all right,
Yeah.
all right,
What do you think
okay,
about that?
all right, okay, all right. You are speaking for, your personal right to be a determinator of your own kind of destiny, life, etc.,
Yes.
right? But again, there comes a point where you butt up against the collective. All right, so it's gonna be like,
Together we are one. There you go. That's synchronicity right there. He's got that on his shirt.
yeah, together we are one. Hey, there you go. That might be, you might want to do that.
But is that always? But is that always? That would be an assumption that it's the idea that the vaccinated. That would be a statement from the vaccinated. Couldn't that also be a statement from a clean person?
Well, okay, it can be a statement from a clean person. It's interesting that you use that term clean
Yeah.
rather than unvaccinated.
Filled with less impurities.
Well, but
Like that.
see, then what you are is
Unbaptized.
what you. Let's see, son, were you raised Catholic?
No, that's why I can be out here. That's why I have the confidence to come out here.
Okay.
Because I wasn't.
Okay.
Oh, were you?
I was.
You were.
I was raised Catholic. I was.
What do you think they would? What do you think they would think about your garb you got on today? Would you wear that in mass today, on Sunday? The funny thing is I think they would.
I would stand out, wouldn't I?
I think they might actually accept you as a brother. It's 2021. Were you at the festival down at Loring Park today?
No. At what kind of festival? Music festival?
Yeah.
A group, several groups?
Yeah, it was kind of, celebrating the freedom of sexuality, if you will.
Oh. Okay.
So that's
All right.
that's
Well,
their choice to celebrate.
Yeah. I'm down with that. I could get behind that message.
Well, no pun intended, I'm sure.
So, what's got you out here on your messianic message vision?
I
quest
just like
today?
to challenge people about what we were all taught growing up, and that's outer space is real. It's a real environment that we can go to. Just we need to have that technology advancement and allow the technocrats to do it for us.
Well, it seems that really the technocrats are really just kind of doing it for themselves.
Seems like it.
Yeah,
Pride.
I don't know.
Boasting.
I don't know if Richard Branson went up to space, for all of us. I think Richard Branson went up for it on a big ego trip. I think.
Easy enough, and it's.
I mean, the dude has got the money, so he could pretty much do whatever the frick he wants.
So did Jeff Bezos allegedly too.
Well, yeah, he's headed out. He's headed up to space also.
That's the idea.
I think in a week or something like that is whenever he's going to take off.
Mm-hmm. But that's the argument: is he actually going to space? He's only going 50 miles.
Well,
or 62.
Well, I think you can still say it's space. I mean,
yeah.
Couple miles difference. Either what difference is it going to make?
Mm-hmm.
You're up pretty high up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're up where you can, literally see space.
Mm.
So,
you can see curvature from up there, of the Earth.
I believe you can. Yes, you can see curvature. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. So,
how do you think you would determine that?
What, by seeing curvature?
Yeah. How high do you have to be? Do you know?
No, I don't actually know how high, but I'm going to guess that, where the height that Branson went would have been high enough to see the curvature.
Okay. What if that's not how high you need to be, and you won't see curvature?
Well, I think it can probably, I think you can almost see curvature from like almost any distance in space, actually. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. It's like,
okay, you're just going to go out on a limb.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb. Yeah. It's a delicate balance out there.
It has to be. You're in between the infinite vacuum of a negative pressure space to where you can breathe. And then magically you cross over without needing a barrier.
Magically.
Right? But in all realistic points, though, Star Trek, you ever seen that TV show before?
Oh, yes, of course.
And then there was the Next Generation.
I watched Star Trek back in my college days in our dorm sort of rec room, as we'd all gather to watch, Kirk and
Spock
and the Doc, fight, what was it? The Trouble with Trifles or something?
Right.
So I was watching, Star Trek. That would have been like 72. So.
And actually, the 3 seasons that it was out were before the moon landing. Can you believe it?
Oh, well, then so that would have, they came out in what, 66?
Yeah, they were propagandizing on the American public outer space before they even landed on the moon. Isn't that weird?
You used that word propagandizing.
Yeah.
And
because they were talking about an environment that they'd never been before.
Well, I know, but I think the larger message for the show was that we as a human species were expanding our conceptual knowledge base of the universe by going out there. So, it never felt like there was any propagandizing going on. There was the various episodes with their stories, and it was always, well, how did they resolve, the attack from the Klingons?
Sure.
Or what was the Romulans?
But couldn't the Romulans or the Klingons or various other entities on the show represent China, Russia, or any other countries?
Well, I suppose.
Just used for allegories?
I suppose if you want to make that type of association or connection, you certainly could.
Isn't that why Hollywood was created to begin with?
No.
To propagandize on the American public?
No. Nah. Hollywood was created to make money, dude. Come on.
Interesting caveat.
Come on, let's be real, dude.
Let's
be real. Those guys, those Eastern Europe Jew guys, they didn't give a crap about they wanted to make money, and then they
didn't want to propagandize their J-talk on the public.
No,
really.
They basically what they wanted to do is they wanted to what it's there was Samuel Goldwyn and what's his name Mayer and those guys back somewhere in the 20s. I'm not exactly sure just how things got it, but these guys came out to Hollywood. And I think first the Hollywood, the movie industry was in New York, but then they went to Hollywood, and it turned out to be a whole better gig. And pretty soon, they start making these movies, and first there's the silent movies, and then come the talkies, and then comes color, and But no, it fundamentally it came down to these guys wanted to make money. And then they wanted to fuck rods because they were really into that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
They wanted pussy.
Yeah. Easy enough, right?
Yeah, and if you've got a Hollywood station or sound station where you're doing a movie, girls flock to that kind of a thing. Girls want to be in movies all the time, Hollywood is filled with girls who come up from all over the country to try to make it in the movies, but some don't quite make it into the movies in the way that they thought they were going to make it,
Yeah, right. Well, one of my favorite captains is Picard.
Oh, yeah, me too.
The idea is that Auguste Picard Captain Picard got his name from this guy.
Yeah.
And when he went up 120,000 feet, he said it seemed a flat disc with an upturned edge. As if to say, like, the Earth just keeps going and going, and the horizon is like a white mist because there's only so far the eye can see. But nobody's seen curvature from that height. It just goes on infinitely level and flat forever and ever, because when water's contained and at rest, it's level and flat at the surface.
Well, you know, you can come up with all kinds of justifications and rationales for your particular views on matters. And God bless you for, you know, trying to talk with people about your views and your perspectives and matters and how you see things and what in fact is like real.
Yeah. What's tangible?
What's tangible? What's cognitive?
Or imagination. Isn't it important to know the difference between the two and not get caught up in imagination, which could lead you into a bear trap?
I don't know. Sometimes you just don't know. You just say, I don't know.
Right. You won't ever know until it happens, right?
Pretty much the case. Pretty much the case.
Right.
Yeah.
Good talking to you.
Well, likewise, dude. You know, carry on with the mission.
Yeah, you too.
All right. All right.
Nice day out.
Yep.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Take care.
You too. Bye now.
Yep.
All right, everybody. What's good? Daniel, Miles, Ted, Summer, The Real Reefy, Alex, and everybody else. So I'll see you on D Live. All right.